everybody, my name is Vanessa Kisowile. My life today is a result of hand-holding of those who were before me and those who are older than me. And yes, I know, I see your faces. Just hear me out, what I mean by hand-holding. That's why I believe in generational investment of those who were before us for the future of Africa. But then again, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 4. I'm not sure if you can see him. He's adorable. But every day my fear is, am I giving him now is enough? And most important, when I'm gone, what is he going to have? And I wonder if I prepared his vessel enough for the future. Now, because for anybody, I'm assuming none of you is a mom here, but for any mom or any parent, you know the moment you have a child, your life is not your own. Hence, your stuff are not your own. You go to the washroom, they're there. Sorry for the graphic image, but hey, that's my reality. So he owns one of my phones, and I loved this phone because it's a phone that I bought the first time I traveled outside of Tanzania with my own money. So it was crooked, destroyed by this adorable boy, but I couldn't replace it at all. But then guess what? Somebody brought me a phone, let me say my baby sister. She was like, hey, you're embarrassing me, so she bought me a new phone. And immediately that happened, internet wasn't working properly anymore. I couldn't access the level of internet that I had before, and I was like, wait, what happened? I called my service provider, and I talked to them, and they were like, ma'am, please change your settings. So they sent me new settings, and I changed, and it didn't work. I was like, hey guys, I've been with you for years. I'm your business client. You know, we go all way when you're frustrated. And they actually said, ma'am, please come to our shop. So I went to the shop, and they changed the line. And I was like, okay, this is good. And guess what? I took this line, the new line, to the same old phone, and it didn't work. And then one night, I had a deadline, and I was so frustrated. I was like, wait, I have a new phone. Let me try change and see if that's going to work. And the moment I did that, it worked. Can you see properly? That's the principle of the vessel. Now, the picture before is an African woman surrounded by beautiful crafted vessels. But that's the principle of the vessel. If you put something new, a new wine in an old vessel, you destroy the wine or you destroy the vessel. And I feel, or I believe, for the future of Africa to be brighter, we need new vessels. So, what is our reality in Africa today? In a world where there's Twitter war between Elon Musk and WFP, if you guys know, or there's COVID going on, or everything else chaotic, does the world really care about the future of Africa? Oh, well, maybe they do. Maybe they do, but do they care about the future of Africa that concerns them, or do they care about the future of Africa that concerns Africans? And it's okay to be selfish. We all are from time to time. But then look at Africa. According to Worldometers, a median age of African continent is 19.7 years old, meaning in the next 20 years, we're still going to be younger. And then with the resources, the wealth of the rest of the world is coming from Africa. And then there's Twitter war. I have people that I look up to, as I said. My career and where I am today is because of hand-holding of those who believe in me, who were there before me. So there are people I follow up, and they had this Twitter massive war between themselves about whether it's right to invest in Africa when you're outside of Africa or when you're inside of Africa. But hey, that didn't matter because I learned a lot from both of them. What was important to me is whatever you're investing, is it coming back home to Africa? And then the truth is, Africa is a pioneer. We have a pioneer's advantage. The richest man who ever lived, Mansa Musa, was in Africa. And do you know what he did? He invested in education and doing good and giving to the poor because he understood the meaning of generational investment. Now, who smokes here? Hey, don't raise your hand, it's fine. It's fine. But then again, I don't want to read that. Weed can be medicinal. But hey, how do we make sure we produce more crops than we produce more weed among Africans? There's a day, just a couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to be exposed to one of the largest tech events in Finland, and I was volunteering. So I was flying to Finland. And because I have a good relationship with my father called and said, "Baby girl, it's December. Please make sure you carry coverings." I was like, "Daddy, I have been there in 2019 and it was hot." He asked, "When were you there?" I said, "In August." He said, "Hey, it's Europe plus December equals to winter." Because I love him and I know I'm here because of him and many other like him, I was like, "Okay, Daddy, I'll carry a hoodie." So I carried a hoodie. In Amsterdam, it wasn't that bad. But when I landed in Finland and I had to stay 15 minutes outside the airport because my card couldn't work, I had 3 other colleagues and our cards couldn't work with the machines for the tickets. I was terrified because I was freezing. Hence, had I just listened to a man who knew better than me, I would have saved myself a lot more trouble and a lot more euros the next morning because I had to actually go and buy more covering. So what if we listen and have a proper relationship between the older and the young for the future of Africa? Because I think and I believe that if the older can invest in us and we can show them what we see, then Africa is unstoppable. I love a story of Chimamanda, one of her TED Talks, I believe. It's called The Power of a Single Story. It was amazing. I think it was my first TED Talk to listen to. But then there's a proverb, an African proverb. When I think of that, I think of the proverb. It says, "An elder can see farther more than a younger can see on the shoulders of a giant." Yeah, I've seen you rolled your eyes, trust me. I also don't believe that much about it, but maybe it's true, or maybe it's not. But the advantage the elders have is experience. And experience is a mix of time and action. Now, if it's a mix of time and action, and we don't have time, you can compete with a man who has been in the field for 60, 30 years. What do we do? How do we redeem time? We redeem time by first strengthening the relationship between the elders within our workplaces and the younger within our workplaces, within the elders in our leadership systems and the younger in our leadership systems, in a way that we can work with each other and compromise for each other for the future of Africa. Yes, we see further with technology and all of that, but maybe they see further with history, or maybe they see further backwards. But hey, they say the farther backward you look, the farther forward you can see. Another thing that I believe is very, very important, which has been a testimony in my life, is investing in our young ones, investing in the future generation. And I'll give you an example of something that you can relate with. I've never been a fan of football, but I know of Simba and Yanga. And they're all buddies, in a way. But since Mo and GSM got in the game, football has changed completely. What it means to actually play football is different from the football I knew before. So what if we invest back home? One of the things that has changed the landscape of tech startup ecosystem in Nigeria is because the successful Nigerian founders and entrepreneurs went back and invest back home because they understand the environment, they can speak the language, they can relate the culture. Who better to tell you that you will sleep there than the person who slept there? Who better is a person to tell you, hey, carry coverings, than a person who has been in Finland in December? But then again, I think if we invest in a relationship, strong relationships between the elders in our communities and the younger in our communities as one for the future of Africa, then we're intentionally investing to build a better Africa. Thank you very much.